All right.
That's good. Come on.
All right, everybody. We're going to get the symposium going and talk about cigar box guitars. That's what we're all here for, right?
Yeah, right.
No, let's not talk about that. No walls, no none of that.
Thank you.
No Brexit, none of that. Right, no. Cigar box guitars. So, Shane, unfortunately, I guess got sick, so he's not here today. Let's all wish Shane, our best wishes, because we love Shane's field. So, John Nickel here is another great builder. I used to build a long time ago, so I don't build that much anymore. I just perform. I'm Steve Harvey, by the way. I was here last year. I'm playing tomorrow. And how about let's get John Nickel over here. John, come on.
Oh my God.
Such a great John Nickel's performance today.
I forgot to tell you, I'm nervous with public speaking.
Are you?
I say silly things, they just come out of nowhere.
Really?
But I think
Can you handle it? Is everybody paying attention? Why are there saxophones?
Himalayas. What happened? No woodlands.
oh, I'm supposed to go?
Yeah, yes.
Right. Starbucks guitars. So, it's still debatable, I think, but I've looked it up. I'm pretty confident of it. I opened up what I think is the first cigar box guitar store in 2010. Business license, paid taxes, all that stuff that I would not recommend. I would say keep it a hobby as long as you can. Once you turn it into a business, it becomes very corporate. So I don't know another way to explain it. But what I tell people, everybody's got a story how they came into cigar box guitars. Everybody's got their own version of how they ended up there. When you jump on the internet and you type in cigar box guitar CBG for the first time, 90% of you are going to run into the CB Giddy, Shane Spiel type crowd. And then there's the 10% of us that actually ran into John Lowe. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen John Lowe, but that guy's a character. Anybody know John Lowe? All right. What I recommend is getting your browsers after this open and typing in John Lowe or logo. I went to my first cigar box guitar festival in Huntsville. Huntsville's got the longest running one. There was one in maybe Missouri or Arkansas, same year. But as far as I know, the Huntsville Cigar Box Guitar Festival is the longest running festival from 14. It's going on 15. Yeah, this is the big 15 this year. So it's been running this whole time. A guy named Matt Crone started it back in the day. I can't even, I'm a musician, so my math is fuzzy. You point at notes, I can do that. Anyway, 15 years ago, with what, 2003? Yeah, something like that. It gets confusing. So I went about, I think I went to the 2007, 9, I forget. Anyway, John Lowe was playing. And I heard a lot of blues, I heard a lot of, just a lot of great musicians that had built their own guitars come up, and then John Lowe takes the stage. And all of a sudden, the piezo spectrum, that's usually what you find in cigar box guitars, those little, where are they, the 20 millimeter piezos. That's kind of what everybody does, or at least starts off with, make your first one. They have a typical sound range. They fit in the spectrum. Say the spectrum is this big. The piezo guitars fit in a spectrum about this big. Now, if you stick a preamp in between a piezo and an amplifier, you're going to widen that spectrum. It's going to get rid of that whiny, hissy stuff in the middle. Basically, those mid-ranges being boosted. And it'll sound more like a really nice acoustic guitar if you throw it through that preamp first. But John Lowe, what he did is and he didn't invent it, but he more or less saved it or brought it back. Back in the 40s and 50s, he explained to me that people wrapped their own guitar magnets. And what they used was sewing bobbins. just little plastic or bakelite or whatever they had back in the day, even metal ones. And they wrap that 43 gauge or that 42 gauge wire around that bobbin just until it gets full. There's no specs to it. You just fill up the bobbin until it's full, and you hope for the best. You connect your lines. The trick is to dip it in wax as much as you can. And what that does is focuses the pickup right to this string. So, and I'll show it later tonight when I play, but I can hit all three of these strings, and only this string will pick up out of this pickup. So what I do is I run this simple pickup, the simple wraps. I do it on a drill press, by the way. Just, when people ask me how many wraps, I'm like, geez, I don't know. I have it set to the fastest setting, and until it's full, I don't really know. And then I measure them at the end, so they usually end up, 2.5 to 3 kilo ohms. You don't need much, just something. But you dip it in wax. That's the secret. You just dip it in wax until it almost doesn't fit in the 7/8 hole you drilled anymore. And what that does is keep all that focus right there to that pole on top of that. I've got a nickel here, but it's just simply placed over the pickup. It's nothing more. It looks just like a little fender, one little pole of a fender pickup. But it separates this string out from the rest of them. But when I plug in the piezo, all three strings sound just like they would on a regular guitar. But I'm able to separate my guitar into the guitar amp, and then my bass into an octaver. $20 Behringer pedal will do it. Drop it down, a full octave, which drops it down into the bass range. And so all of a sudden, the piezo spectrum of a 20 millimeter, 30-cent piezo that you can buy, CBG, Mouser, MGB, whoever's selling it, your spectrum goes from piezo guitar into full range sound again. And it's just amazing. So when I saw John Lowe for the first time, I knew that cigar box guitars were no longer just a simple instrument. They could be expanded upon, evolved. There's still yet things to be done with them. I'm convinced that not everything has been done with a 3-string, so I haven't really bothered with 4 strings yet. So I'll eventually get there, but I still think there's just a lot of opportunity for innovators to come in and to add to the cigar box evolution.
So take questions at the end, or?
Sure, I'll take questions. That'd be even better than me just spouting off at the mouth.
If you're using a piezo, where inside the box is the best place to put it? Second question, are these any better than a piezo?
Okay. I have ADD. We're going to start with the
I do
piezo.
too. Yeah.
To me, the piezo is best sunk in a little bit below the box. There's a little bit of a relief there. And I think what that does is, sound hits a wall and it bounces that way, it bounces that way, it bounces that way, and that way. What this kind of does is shield a lot of that extra reverberation from the box. And this is just opinion. I fully agree with Shane's feel that there are no rules as long as you're not building a fretted instrument. The second you need to intonate a guitar, there are rules. There are many, many rules, about 12 of them at least to get down to that one. So, but other than that, it's still all trial and error. I've found that just placing them on a box, it is as close to under the bridge. Usually there's another way I used to do it. See how I put a screw right there in the guitars? So what I used to do, and I thought it was something special, but it turned out not to be. That's what I'm saying. There's still a lot of room for innovation. I would drive the screw through, cut my little indention with a Forstner bit, saw off that screw, and then glue it to that screw and the little indention in the wood, and the bridge would be right on the other side of the screw. So I was figuring if this was rattling and it was touching that screw at the same time, it might be a direct force onto that piezo, because the piezo is a pressure type pickup. It's going to run off vibration, not so much magnetic like the magnet screw. So, but you'd be hard pressed to convince me piezos, their importance. To me, they sound better than magnetic pickups because all the dynamics, all the playing, all the everything you can get out of a piezo. And the best way I know how to put it is, I can make a piezo sound like a hard rock guitar, but I can't get a magnetic pickup to sound like a piezo. So that's the difference. And a piezo can do both if you properly set it up and send it through all the right equipment. And like I said, $20 goes a long way in your line of equipment getting to your amp. Definitely preamp all your piezo guitars. You'll notice on expensive Fenders, Ibanez's, they've got this little, that's a preamp, that's a built-in preamp. But you can also get the CB Giddy amplifier sets. Just get rid of the speaker, put that in a box, and there's your preamp. What you're doing is you're bringing that line up to a level that's conducive to soundboards. And the sound guy can go into a lot more science about it. But basically a piezo is much softer than magnetic pickup. So what you have to do is bring them up to a microphone level. And then, what was your question on magnets?
Well, I think you answered it. You said a piezo is actually better than these things.
Well, that's opinion.
Okay.
It could be debated. But I always wanted to be a drummer. And nobody would get me any drums, so I had to join high school drum line.
I'm happy.
But what I found out is I ended up liking acoustic guitars, electric guitars, and stepping on pedals. Failed me so many times in my teenage years that I just switched over to acoustic guitar. And I really like it because it rarely ever failed me, and it always produced the sound that I wanted in the venues that I was at. So I'm a big fan of piezos.
To look up at your audience and recognize the question. He was first.
Notice your piece, or is it insulated?
No. I don't stick it. I think hot glue is the death of it. And once again, this is opinion, but a piezo is made to vibrate freely. I opened up an accordion piece. They wanted a preamp put in there. It already was electrified. And when I opened up this accordion after 50 million screws, got the face off, and there was a piezo on a stiff wire, really stiff copper, well, 2 wires connecting to the piezo, and it was covered in that, like when you get a box from Amazon, that grayish foam that's in there. So they cut out a perfect circle, cut a slit in the middle of that, and they put the piezo in there, and it just sat freely inside that accordion. So it didn't touch any of the keys, it wouldn't bounce.
Install it without it touching.
How do I? So I use super glue, Loctite, the blue bottle.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible
You don't
stuff.
put it on the top.
No, not on top. No, I want it to be free and clear. So.
It's not free and clear on the bottom, but that's okay.
No, it's just I guess adhered. I guess that's the word. It's just adhered to the bottom there with super glue. So, and it's the perfect thing. I mean, 10 seconds it just fits perfectly, and I've got 8-year-old guitars, and it's still just glued right into place. But you see that little invention? That's my running idea that basically keeps a lot of that reverberation down from the box noise, but you still get the box noise.
Rather than put it on.
Right. So you could take it kind of blocks out just all that extra stuff. But you could honestly take a magnetic pickup, put it on a cinder block, run strings over it, and it's going to sound just as good as it would in your $1,000 tone wood. The only way you're ever going to hear your tone wood is if you put a piezo in it, or you put a microphonic magnetic pickup. And a microphonic magnetic pickup is a magnetic pickup that has not been repeatedly dipped in wax. You can sing through the coils, basically. It's the wax that consolidates and, I guess puts a perimeter on what it'll actually pick up.
I want to get this myself. I have a piece. It's a very big one. It takes up the whole thing. It's a big piece.
Yeah. Oh, so the piezo under that is actually that big?
Yeah.
That's a monster.
And Ben Giddy, he said that's the biggest piece I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, the Army's experimenting with piezos. They're putting them in shoes because they produce half a volt. Anytime they're crushed or pressed or vibrate, they produce half a volt. So what they're trying out with the Army right now is they're putting piezos in their shoes and then running up a USB type charger in the pants, and they're hoping that any devices that they have that run on 5 volts, that as they march and walk, that it will charge whatever device they have. So
You have enough feet, they should put that on like a centimeter.
yeah, right. Boy, you can power a small city.
So what do you think if I did like?
I like my piezos unobstructed, but you have a giant piezo. I've honestly never seen
I can
that.
change that?
And you know what you could also do? You just put in another input and then just put another piezo there, and so you've got both options available. So, You don't have to give up one. And like I said, try it through a preamp. If you don't through a preamp yet, try
So you
it.
have an
It's a
external
game
preamp.
changer. It's a game changer.
You have an external preamp. I see you don't have a preamp.
Yeah, no, it's all in my rig over there. So I like to keep I like to keep volume knobs off my guitar because I flail when I play.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so I just knock those things off and break them. And so the second jack is for that bass magnetic pickup that only picks up that one string.
Oh, you already said that. I get it.
And then I run a little piece of copper foil tape. I used to make stained glass. And this copper foil tape, I run around the pickup, and then I run a little line down here that touches these strings. And so what I can do is ground to this copper foil, and it touches that string, and boom, no noise. No noise, not even with a single coil. Like when I hear people complain about the noise they get from single coils, it makes me want to reach out, and I used to in the old days, back when I tried to help people. A lot of people have opinions these days, so I try to stay out of it these days. So single coils make a lot of noise, but I would tell you to check your wall, to check where the power actually comes out. You can buy a $15 power surge protector that has a little green light on it if it's actually grounded and protected. I promise you that will clean up 90% of the noise if you're experiencing it. Start with your wall. Start with the very basic on the flow chart, you know.
What is it?
It's just like a little, surge protector, a little inline.
Yeah.
You pick one up at Walmart. Sometimes they're like less than $10. You know, all you're looking for is that green little protective light on there, and that'll tell you if your line's actually grounded coming out. What's happening a lot of times with single coil pickups is you're just getting dirty power, and you're trying to turn dirty power into clean signal. It just doesn't happen that way. So.
Neon lights.
What's that?
That doesn't apply to us.
Oh yeah. Well, it more affects your amp.
Non-electric.
Non-electric, no, yeah, you won't even be plugging in with non-electric. You'd be miking them, So, and if you're miking for studio, you always catch it about a fist away from the base of the box, like right around here, and then put another mic right up here on the neck. You're gonna want to get your scratches and your movements and your.
How do you get scratches out of it?
Well, when you just when you move around on a guitar. How do you get rid of it? You want them actually. You want them very subtle, and you actually want to pan it. You're going to want that. So this would be, in a stereo image, this would be the right side of your speakers. And you want this to be the left side of your speakers. And what that does is, once again, fill out that spectrum. I'm all about filling up that spectrum. So what happens with, cigar box guitars a lot of times is they just sit in a little spectrum on the entire beautiful thing we can hear. But if you got bass players and drummers, they fill in those. But as a one-man band, I'm forced to try to fill that void. And like I said, it all came from John Lowe. I would definitely recommend jumping online, checking out John Lowe, and that'll lead you to Richard Johnston. You guys have heard of Richard Johnston, right? Well, John Lowe was before Richard Johnston, so you gotta, in the cigar box world, I don't know about in real life, but as far as innovation of sound. So,
Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about mixing a piezo pickup and a magnetic pickup?
oh, that's great. Anytime
And
you
having
can,
the
just
blending.
spread and build on your sound, out of one instrument, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And it's no skin off your back. You can just keep adding pickups. You don't have to take away, like he was saying, he's got this one gigantic, it's a monster. I've never seen one bigger than that either, I guess. So, but he could just simply add in another piezo and run both if he wanted to. A lot of amps these days will have double inputs, but when you get into guitars like this with the double bass input, you're going to want to get into, 2 amps, or you're going to want a double input. Never discount pawn shop keyboard amps. So a bass guitar amp is made to fill this spectrum. A guitar amp is made to fill this spectrum. A keyboard amp comes with usually 4 to 5 inputs, and it's made for this spectrum. It's made for the low keys and the high keys. So a lot of people veer away from those keyboard amps, but they're actually probably one of the better amps out there for cigar box guitars, just because of the voids they fill with their great speaker systems. So, any other questions?
Yeah. pickup.
Do that with yourself?
No, CBG.
Uh-huh.
And I painted it.
Yep.
Okay. I'm getting a weird screeching sound.
Is that like a metal paint?
Yes, I'm thinking that's what it is. Metal and that paint might be
That's my
interfering.
first guess, yeah.
It's like it's not a hum, it's more of a screech.
Does that open? Is that same one with the giant pizza?
No.
Oh. Alright, so you've got no ground going on here, I know. But this is probably waxed and potted. Have you noticed, can you tap on the guitar and hear it through the pickup?
We can try it.
If you can do that, it's basically a microphonic type pickup, and you can treat it like a piezo at that point and run it through a preamp. So it should be able to play
This for a
some
friend of
of
mine, he plays guitar, so
But it didn't screech before the paint.
I didn't even try it. I had it, I put it
so-
together, plugged it in, and
Yeah, maybe try. I don't know. Maybe I'd try running it around or not. But you know, when I set my stuff up later today, you're gonna be around, right? I can plug it into everything I got and probably figure it out what's going on with it. So
now another thing about this bridge, being that thin, okay.
yeah, no, that's another one of those no rules. As long as it's in the rules, it's no rules after that.
Intonation.
Well, you know how to do intonation?